So let me ask you guys a question. Why are you here today? I like that answer. Absolutely. So you guys here because you're not happy with the government trying to take over of healthcare? Are you here because you think the government has no right to tell you what to do with your life? Are you here because you think the government is spending us out of existence? You know, back in the 1800s, Alexis Tocqueville, a Frenchman, came to the United States, and he wrote a book about America, and he was just stunned at what an amazing country we had, especially since the fact that he had no respect for our politicians. In fact, he said, there are many men of principle in both parties in America, but there's no party of principle. Well, I will tell you, there is one party of principle today. It's called the Tea Party. So my name is Steve Eady, and I'm one of about 8 people that got together and said, let's try to organize this thing into a real movement. It's great for us to come out in a beautiful sunny day and complain and talk about things, but it's more important that we get together, we get to know each other, and we start making change, not only in Washington, but in Springfield, in Lee County, in Whiteside County, and everywhere in the area, including our school districts. So the way this is going to work today is we're having a few people come up and speak, and they're just, most of them are average citizens. We have a few people that are going to be running for office. No incumbents are actually speaking, just people running for future office. And then we're going to have a little break, and we're going to have an open mic. So people can come up, and there's a sign-up list over here. And the reason we have a sign-up list is just because to try to keep it orderly. I want everybody to get a chance to speak if they want, because that's what this is all about, to speak your piece. We also have petitions over there if you'd like to sign them. And we're also giving out little pocket constitutions if you'd like those. Over here, we're selling some water, like Ken had mentioned. So if you're hot, please keep hydrated because it's very hot out here today. So I mentioned up above, I've got one rule. You know, call me a fascist, but I got one rule: no foul language, please. Because as you can see, my daughter's here, and I don't want to see any negative language around her. So I guess what I want to just talk about really quick is why I would like you to sign up for our Tea Party. And, we're just a bunch of citizens that got together, none of us very politically active, up until last year, essentially, when the first bailout occurred. And we thought, let's try to make something really happen instead of just sitting at the TV throwing stuff at it. So we really want you to sign up. And this is what we want to do. We want to put numbers together to put an end to corruption, both in Springfield and in Washington. And we want real transparency, not this fake transparency people talk about, but real transparency. And we want to really help return our country to our framers' principles. I don't know if anybody's had a chance to read a book called The 5,000-Year Leap, but it's a fantastic book, and it's basically our founding fathers in their own words. It's actually quite a boring book because when you see John Adams speak for 2 paragraphs, you're like, oh, God, really? But it's important because you've got people like John Adams, Samuel Adams, George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, people speaking at length on issues facing our early country. And they're important for us to know today because they had the same issues today as we had then. We also want to create an issue where our kids in schools, we don't want the schools indoctrinating our children with what they want to teach them. We want our children... We want 2 things for our children. In school, obviously, the school's there for reading, writing, and math and science. That's what it's for. But if we are going to talk about anything to do with history, we need to talk about the founding of our country. If you open up your child's history book, you're lucky if they get 2 paragraphs on the founding of this country, and that's just sad. So we need to have people talk about that. And we also need to people in the high schools to learn about economics, and not socialism and Marxism, but capitalism. They don't teach economics in terms of capitalism in high schools. They simply don't. You know, they talk about all the other things, but they don't talk about capitalism. So we want to try to get people to join to help us make change there. So that's enough about me. Our first speaker's coming up, and her name is Amanda Norris. She is going to talk about how she got involved, and you may find a lot of similarities between yourself and her. And this is her very first time in front of a large crowd, so let's be really nice to her. Amanda, why don't you come on up?